Welcome to Female Voices, Life and Loss, a podcast dedicated to women from all walks of life. Whether you're navigating through loss, seeking growth, or simply looking for a place to feel understood, you've come to the right space. Each week, we provide compassionate guidance, share diverse stories, and offer practical advice to help you heal, grow, and thrive. No matter where you are on your journey, we're here to walk with you. Let's grow together.
On them. I even asked God when they took him to the hospital when he didn't make it. I was like, God, I'm 60 years old. I could go. I could live a full life. And why didn't you just take me and let him live? He's 3. He could. I'm having these conversations. Nobody around but me and God. I was having those conversations with God. But we never know when our time is. But I felt like the only conflict I felt like he did the job that he was supposed to come here to do.
Hello, Laverne and Nate. Welcome to the podcast. I'm really looking forward to our conversation. For our guests, Laverne and Nate, Laverne is LaWayna's mother and her hubby, from what she calls you. And so I'm excited to talk to them and get to meet them and learn a little bit about them and their grief that they've experienced. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we're going to talk today. We briefly talked a little bit, and I learned a little bit about you guys from LaWayna. You guys have experienced a lot of grief. You had just told me before I hit record, 9 people.
Yeah, 1 year.
Oh gosh, and one of them being LaWayna's son. So we're going to talk about that. But before we talk about grief, can you share just a little bit about who you both are? I'll let you, whoever wants to go first, tell us a little bit about.
I'll go first because he gonna think about it. I'm Laverne Hill. Of course, I'm Wayne's mom. For work, I'm a client manager. I work with the elderly, disabled, and mentally disabled. I've been working in healthcare for about 20 years. I'm a client manager. I've been a care coordinator. I've been a case manager. I've worked for the state and other agencies. I am a minister. He's an ordained deacon. So not necessarily church itself, but the God and everything is spirituality is very important to us. Religion is very important to us. I like to read, and my passion, I think I'm just like to help. I'm a helper. People he'll tell you, people call me all the time. He'd be like, oh, they call me all the time for some kind of help, some kind of conversation. I'm always counseling a lot of people. But I've been doing that for a long time. So I was like, just excited when LaWayna changed and got into that. I thought that was awesome. And so that's it for me.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
I was going to say.
Yes, and
I
yes.
agree.
My name is Nathaniel, but I go by Nate or Poppy. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm a veteran. I did 23 years in the military as sergeant first class. When I finished, I did my tours, of course, and playing in the sandbox and all, what have you. I got out, and then I couldn't retire. Everybody wanted me to retire. Say, oh, you can get out, you can retire. And I tried it for 90 days and it didn't work.
It didn't work.
I couldn't take it. I was climbing the walls. So I had to go back to work. And I work now at St. Louis International Airport. I'm a mechanic there. So that's what I do. I work on all the ground equipment, the trucks and fans, cars, whatever they have. Anything that's an engine and transmission, I work on it. So that's what I do.
What's your passion?
My passion is going to car shows and working on vehicles, of course.
Wow.
And that's what I like to do.
Wow. Well, thanks for all your service in the military, and thanks for keeping the airplane safe at St. Louis.
One of those guys that like it's got to be right. Or
I'm a bit of a perfectionist.
Good. Good.
He was like that when he used to work he worked on school buses. One time he would not let them go out unless they were perfect. Even from changing the tires, everything had to be right because he think about there are kids riding in these buses.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, yeah, the apple doesn't fall far from the
Oh,
tree.
exactly.
I can see where she's where her life is going and
Oh yeah.
where her passions are. She sees that from her mother. A great role model.
Well,
There she is.
appreciate that.
There she is.
Yeah. So can you guys, whoever wants to talk, chime in with each other, however you want to do that. I want to just start with what you just said, and what I repeated was 9 losses in one
Okay.
year. Like,
Cool.
The first one was my cousin. Me and her are the same age.
okay,
Um, and we were like sisters, me, her, and my other cousin Kim, because all of us were the same age. So we were
okay,
always in one of our houses. She had gotten cancer. The
oh,
cancer had subsided, but it made your body weak. You know, it makes all that radiation and chemo made her weak. So she got pneumonia and she passed. And it was so hard because when our family gatherings come together, she's that light. As soon as she came in, she's a light. And she's smiling and she's laughing and she's talking to everybody. She kind of brings everybody together. It's like she was just a wonderful light. And she just would talk to you and make you happy and make you laugh. And, she get you up dancing because she always was dancing. And she was just always a happy, happy person.
mm-hmm.
And that year. That's the first thing that hit me super, super hard because I kept not believing this light, this smile was gone. And then I'm like, wow, we're the same age. I'm here and she's not here. It you felt it.
Most.
Yeah, and you felt a little guilty, like, what? Even though we are, anybody is, but we're not old enough to be gone. You know, that was a lot. And then the next one died was my older cousin. And I grew up, like looking up to him all the time, going to see them. He was sick. He got sick and passed. And that was like, I lost one of my brothers.
Yeah.
And then the third one was my cousin's son. I actually eulogized that homegoing. I actually preached that homegoing. And he died helping someone.
Oh no.
He lived out of town and he had these really good friends. And I'm trying to see, he was helping them, like people were beating on him, like, and he jumped in, like to pull them off or whatever.
Okay.
And he got killed. And the guy was in a hospital. He was still in hospital, but he checked himself out the hospital to come down here because I think they were in Minnesota or somewhere to come down here to the funeral because he said I had to just say thank you because if it weren't for him, I would be dead. If he didn't step in to help me,
Oh wow.
so he died helping somebody. Like I'm glad he had that big heart to help people because he always helped people. But it was sad that that's what got him killed. And that was all like April, March. So I'm thinking, okay, God, they say it comes in threes.
Free and done. Yeah.
We had our threes. We are good. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, let me just process this. Then
Mm-hmm.
here comes August and Joshie dies. It was real hard to breathe. It was just hard to breathe and to just watch your child. And I was like, God, why does my child have to go through this? Why is because my daughter, I have a younger daughter. 8 years ago, her husband died in front of her.
Oh no.
So it was hard. Like, why are my children going through these things? Say I only go through that. Why are they? It just, I felt guilty. I felt mad about it, but not mad at God. But just why is they going through this? And to watch her go through all these emotions, and I would just sit. I would just go over her house every day and just sit, kind of protect her from a lot of people that was, just nosy people. She's doing great. What is your problem? What are you thinking? His homegoing service was a, a celebration. He had a celebration. He had, because he like Paw Patrol, so all of his things were Paw Patrol. He had these balloons. Nothing was sad. We played videos of him like at the daycare, singing and dancing, being Joshie. And And so everybody had great stories to tell. For that moment, I could breathe a minute. And then like afterwards, I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was just numb. And I felt helpless because I couldn't take this pain away from my daughter. I couldn't shield her from this. As a parent, you want to cover them from all hurt. I would never let anybody hurt them. And here she is broken, and I couldn't do, I'm trying not to cry. I couldn't do anything about it. And that made me feel less than. Yeah, like you said, I'm a good mom. I didn't feel like a good mom because I didn't protect her from this. I didn't cover him enough. He's my grandson, and he could say Poppy before he could say Daddy because that's how close we were.
Yeah.
And Joshie was like our Joshie. He was just our thing. And because he had the condition, and I had my friends praying for him, and we had a whole friend circle. We were like, he good, he gonna be good. And then just to see him run and stuff just gave me joy.
The loss for me of my grandson was a hard one for me because he and I developed a special bond together. He, as she had stated before, that he would say Poppy before he would say Dada, and to me that was really special because he and I would do a certain laugh together, and only he could do it. But I would do something, and then he would do it back, and then we would do it back and forth. So that was our code. So every time I would get with him, I would do it to him, and he'd do it back. And he was just such a great joy to have around.
It's the first time. He's had other people die in his family and stuff, but that's the first time I ever see him break down. He broke down then.
Yeah, my daughter, when I could see the hurt that she was going through, and like she said, I felt helpless because I'm watching her go through this, and her and her mom are both strong women. I would say that they're both strong, but even strong get weary in a fight. And you need somebody to strengthen you. And so the only thing that I could do was reach out and pray. And when I did that, it took God to give me a sense of peace, because He spoke to me and let me know some things that man wouldn't understand. And he had me to look at it like, okay, this child is he's in child form like Jesus did when he came here, but he's really an angel. This angel's here to do a mission, and it was to spread joy, happiness, and love.
And bring a lot of people
a lot of people together. His main thing was bringing togetherness, because God likes family. So this is what he did. And when he did that, and his time, sadly to say, he had to leave. When he did, Jesus came down and met him personally and took him away. And once he explained it to me, I felt a lot better, because before I it was hard, really hard.
And then to see his dad the day it happened, he just everybody they call him Poppy and they call me Grand. And he just broke down on me, and Grand, I'm sorry, and Grand. I mean, he's a strong guy too, and he's real kind of laid back, kind of chill. But that just beat him up. Yeah. That just took every fiber of who he was for a long time. And I was gonna say, I'm glad when they started going to counseling.
Yes.
That helped them. And then when she went further into her counseling, what she would learn, she would share. She did a grief counseling every Thursday for like a month. I think it was like 4 of us on there, and we had a little workbook and everything. It was very good. And then, like I said, after Joshie, my aunt died, my nephew died. He hung himself. Now, he had some condition that he was like almost 50. He had some condition that they couldn't get the medication right, and he would just blank out. He blanked out and like held his bank hostage not with a gun, but like held them hostage. He didn't know anything about it, and he was like 6 feet tall, and a black man. So he just felt like that was just too much. He told his niece that he did not want to hurt anybody.
Mm.
And since they couldn't get that under control, he said, I don't want to blink out and wake up that I've hurt somebody or I killed somebody or I did something. And so he took his life to
Ugh.
stop the pain, to stop the pain.
Sure.
And I mean, it was noble, but I just wish he'd have let the doctors help him a little longer. Okay, died. A friend of our family died. Then my oldest cousin died. He was like my biggest brother. He lived with us at one time and everything. And yeah, he was the last one because my aunt died, whose son had died and grandson had died back in April. And it was good seeing her because I hadn't seen her in a while. But then she died, and it was just it was a very
Devastating year.
because the last one died in December, and then I was so numb, and I didn't know where. Like I felt like okay, Laverne, breathe. But January of that last year hit, and it's like I started breathing, and I started feeling all that pain, and all of it was coming. It was overwhelming, and that's when LaWayna had her sessions. Like it was after that. What came out, now what I didn't tell you was my first time I had somebody close to me die. I was 12.
Ooh, okay.
I was 12. It was my best friend. She lived 2 houses from me, and her brother, her little brother, her little sister, and one of the other neighbors. They were sitting on the porch. This is back in the
Mhm.
70s, So they on the porch playing a game, and somebody drove past and shot at that porch. Now, our neighborhood never had anything, ever had it. Let me go back because I had just came down because we lived upstairs. I came down my stairs and I was going to get her to go to the store. And had I
Mm.
been maybe 5 seconds earlier, I would have been there. I probably would have been going up the steps
Sure.
because when I got to the steps, I heard something. I saw this white car pass, and then I heard them screaming. When I heard them screaming, I ran in my house and got my mom. And my mom and them came down there, and I got the neighbor. The neighbor was a nurse, so I got her too. So she got shot like in the throat, and her brother it grazed him, and it grazed the other girl's arm. And her little sister was just holding on to me, and we both crying because we're 12, and we 12, so she's like 8 or 9. And to see her, and my mom and them called the ambulance, but it took a long time because their mom had got off the bus and was coming down the street, and all she saw was this crowd at her house.
Mm.
And when she saw it was her child, we were very innocent. I didn't know about them. We were actually innocent 12-year-olds, and we still did the house. We still played house. We still did all those things at 12, and that was the most that stayed with me. I think it haunted it. Not I shouldn't say haunted me because she didn't haunt me, but
Sure.
it just stayed in my mind. I can sleep. I became a light sleeper. I'm a light sleeper to this day because it just.
Sure.
And then they just want you to be okay. Like people didn't talk about it. You're just supposed to be okay. So we didn't talk about it that much. It actually stayed with me.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. And so I was going to ask, like, what was the most challenging part of all of those losses? But I want to go to that first traumatic loss. Was the challenge with all those emotions because nobody would let you express it or talk about it, or what was
And
the
express
challenge?
it first. As a kid, you don't know how you feel. You shocked. You hurt. And she didn't die like instantly. She died like a week or so later.
Okay.
So she's in the hospital, and you just expecting, because you're a kid, you're expecting her to come home. When I came in the house one night, they told me she didn't make. I said, didn't make what? What are you talking about? That she died. I'm like, she did. Like, what if she died? No, and they're like, no, she died. They kept trying to convince me that she died, and I kept convincing them she's coming home. What are you talking about? Then I remember they bought me something to wear to the funeral. I was like, okay, and like nobody said anything else after that. Like, are you okay? Or nobody expressed anything about it. It was like it came, it happened, it was horrible. Everybody talked about how horrible it was because, like I said, I grew up in just a neighborhood, regular neighborhood, but we were all very interconnected. So you were always I was very safe growing up. And it was just it was just the oddest thing that
Yeah.
something like that happened. We didn't know about drive-bys and nothing like that, but that car just shot at them. And I don't know if they were just shooting at the house. It was like a four-family flat. So it's like four families lived there. So I'm like, and then these are just, you can see that these are just kids on the porch. I don't know if
Right.
they were just probably a teenager or somebody themselves just shooting out, probably trying to scare the kids, didn't realize that they hit them,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know.
yeah. Well, I think too, when you have that kind of instance, then with many times, there's the justice too, like finding that person.
She did
So
not. To this day, she's a
unsolved,
unsolved. She's a cold case. She's to this day.
which makes it more difficult. And when I work with clients that have those instances like that someone else was responsible for them dying, shooting or whatever, it's really working with them to separate the justice that they want and the loss.
Justice.
Really
It
work.
would go better if somebody was caught and
Sure.
went to jail.
Get close.
At least if you have that closure. You never get that closure. She had a big family. It's two sisters left. They had three sisters. Well, with her it was four girls and four guys, I think, too. And all the guys are gone. Their mother, their father are gone, and it's just those two. And then the youngest one, who was youngest one that saw that, she just lost her husband like about a couple of weeks ago, and she had been with her husband since she was like a teenager.
Yeah. Wow. And so I want to bring this point up for the listeners. You're indicating that happened when you were 12, and you also indicated and said that still affects you today. You're a light sleeper, you said, because of that. And so I just want to bring that to light, that when you see things like that and when there's traumatic loss in your life like that, it is something. If my thought on this is, if it's not completely resolved, it's not talked about, you're not allowing that complete grief, it will continue to play havoc, I'll say, in your life. And so just kind of, so people are aware of that those are things that need to be talked about, need to be resolved, need to be complete when those things happen, and not talking about it and not allowing that does not serve anyone well. So tell me more, switching to the more recent losses, especially Joshie, the loss of a grandchild. And you talked a little bit about this. You wanted to protect. You are Wayne's mother.
My mother.
As mothers, we are to protect our children really at all costs, which we know is not possible, but we want to do that. And so you indicated that you went over and sat with her. But how did you, which was wonderful that you did that, much needed, I'm sure, for her and you. But with talking to other grandparents, we do that. We want to take care of our children, but we don't always take care of ourselves. And it's like when you're on a plane, what are we supposed to do?
Take care of yourself and then afterwards. But
First, before we do somebody else. Hi, it's Teresa with Living After Grief. If Mother's Day brings you both love and longing, joy and sorrow, I want you to know that you're not alone. I see you, I understand, and that's why I created a day just for you. Join LaWayna and I for the 3rd annual Bereaved Mother's Day. This is a day created for you to honor your journey, to speak your child's name, and to honor your motherhood, and to be surrounded by women who truly understand. We will share stories, take time for self-care, and hold space for grief and love. Like last year, the botanical gardens will be joining us to make floral arrangements, and we will release butterflies into the sky while being reminded that our child's love never leaves us. There's no expectations, just a compassionate place to be exactly where you are in your healing. You don't have to do this alone. Come as you are. Let's walk this path together. This will all take place on Saturday, May 3rd at Todd Hall Retreat Center in Columbia, Illinois. So click the link in the show notes or visit my website, livingaftergrief.com, for more details and to reserve your spot. Reserve it today because space is limited to keep this a very small and intimate day for you. Now back to the episode. So what did you do for you, or have you done anything for yourself to take care of your grief, or has it still been focused on LaWayna?
On them. I even asked God when they took him to the hospital when he didn't make it. I was like, God, I'm 16 years old. I could go. I could live a full life. And why didn't you just take me and let him live? He's 3. He could. I'm having these conversations. Nobody around but me and God. I was having those conversations with God, and I was like, hey, I'm living for a good life. I'm living a good life. He's 3. But we never know when our time is. But I felt like the only conflict I got, I felt like he did the job that he was supposed to come here to do.
Exactly.
But for me, I haven't done anything, but I had the conversation, the grief things with LaWayna. He'll tell you I'm overly helpful sometimes. I'm overly giving sometimes. I have put myself in detriment at one time, a couple of times to help other people, which I have learned not to do. But it's always like you said, we're strong people, so I feel like I'm always worried about somebody else and how they going to do it, and are they okay? And like my little granddaughter that's here, she's 9. She's an only child because I told you her father passed, and she felt bad. I was like, oh my God, am I sending this to her? Because that was her little brother, and when he was little, baby and stuff, and she told him, "I'll always protect you. I will always protect you." And when he passed, she was like, man, I promised him that I would protect him, but I wasn't there to protect him. But I promised him, Gran. I promised him. I said, yeah, but sometimes you can't be there, but God is always there. So don't feel like you didn't do your job. You did. When he was around him, you're around him, you're protecting him. I said, but there are things in life that not even Gran can protect him from. And I protect her a lot. So I'm that grandma. I'm that, I got friends who see their grandkids and don't. I'm with them. I talk to them. I'm listening. We're having conversations about different things. So yeah, it's like, oh, you can treat us like that. We're kids. You would throw us across. I'm like, but I told them I'm in a new camp. Over here, the rules are different over here.
Different era.
So it's still very protective. So for myself,
You haven't taken the time.
I haven't taken the time. It's like when my daughter's husband died. It was an accidental death. She's right there. She saw it all. So she went into that day. She asked me to wake her. Mom, wake me up. Tell me it's a dream. Mom, please tell me this is a dream. And she kept shaking me. And I was like, maybe I wish I could. And I couldn't cry. I couldn't do anything because she's holding on me. Then because his mother only had the 2 kids, him and a daughter. And he was the oldest. And he was such a good man. He was such a good husband to my daughters. So, also, and then my daughter had to come live with me, because they were moving out of town. So she had to come live with me through all of that. So I'm raising her baby while she's going through this and just keeping a watch on her and just supporting her, letting her talk to me and just listening and, the same kind of thing, just listening. And this went on for years because she's still in some grief today, some grief and some depression today. but it's coming out of it. But I'm overprotective of my granddaughter because I've had her since she was a baby. It's like that's my child, so I don't like anything. I mean, and I just feel for her because she's 9 years old and she lost her granddad, and then her great grandmother who did everything for them. Like if my daughter needed to go somewhere, she took my daughter to the doctor. She helped my granddaughter, so there was things I didn't have to do that she did. She always stepped up like that. And 2 years after her, she loses her father. She loses that grandmother because she spent time over there. Her first steps was at that grandmother's house. And then she loses her.
There's just so much.
Then she lost Joshie. So as a kid, she had 3 major losses in her life. So I'm always talking to her and feeling out how you feel because I keep telling him she's going through a lot, and she'll talk to me about her not having a dad and how she missed grandma, and it's what people don't see. Do you know she's a 9-year-old that's in a lot of pain?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's a 9-year-old that's dealing with stuff outside of her acknowledgement, her mindset. But I'm sorry, I digressed.
that's okay. Well, and I just wanted to come back to you though. And your grief.
So yeah, I want to go.
Anything about me.
Okay, so but you're aware of it.
I'm aware of it, and I was aware.
I
didn't allow myself to grieve because I felt like I had to be strong. Because he broke down, I broke him, my grandson, my daughter, my son-in-law. Somebody had to stand. When I felt like, okay, I can do this. This is what I'm built for. Because I'm always standing for people, so I feel like I got to stand. And I'm aware that, like when my daughter's husband died, I didn't cry for him for a lot of years because I'm so integrated with making sure all of
everybody else is taken care of.
That they're okay. Yeah.
I'm curious as to why you felt that somebody needed to stand. Somebody needed to be strong.
I do not know. Somebody had to be strong. I felt like it's like that with my dad. It's like I don't know.
Nobody has to really be strong.
I guess everybody around me was falling apart. And somebody had to help them get up. And somebody had to be there to just say, oh, wait, woo, 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 or whatever it was, I felt like,
it's in your blood.
Let me be real honest. I just had this epiphany in my head. This is what it came to me. It said, I felt like my grief was lesser than theirs because it impacted them more.
Comparing your grief.
And so my grief can be on a whole because it was her husband, it's her son. This is more impactful for them. It's like I'm secondhand at it, but I still got my own grief because LaWayna said, I know you got grief because that was your grandson and y'all was good. And we couldn't tell stories and stuff, but he had to always get my phone and show me what we were doing, not what we doing. And because he was point to this.
It's interesting. I think that's very common for people to do, especially grandmas, to do that. And just really anyone. We want to hold our grief and our words if we think it's worse for someone else. And we still need to grieve. We can hold it within their space, but we need to go somewhere else to grieve and take care of ourselves.
Now that you are saying that, I see that I've done that. I had a stepson. He died in a car wreck at 23, and I was the one that got him through high school because his mom died when he was young, and I got him through high school and everything, and that was always my guy. And when he died in that car accident, it's like I put on a hat and went to work. They picked out the morticians they want. I went to talk to them. So I said, hey, what's this about? Oh, he don't have any insurance because he had just got off my insurance because he was 23. And I said, okay. I just did a campaign. His grandmother gave me $1,000, his cousin gave me $1,000, and other people just gave me money. I said, if I can't do anything, I'm not too proud to ask. I'm not begging, I'm just asking. He died, can you do some help? I asked all his little friends, instead of buying those $20 t-shirts give me that $20 to help pay for his thing.
Yeah.
And I went and got his clothes. Because I said this, because he was graduating with the associates, and I took him out. He had just graduated, and I took him out for his graduation like a few months later. And he said, I knew if anybody did anything for me, it was going to be you, because I wasn't with his dad no more. He said, but anybody did anything for me, it was going to be you. So when he died, I said, and I thought he was engaged at one time. I thought, oh, good, I'm gonna plan a wedding or whatever. But I said, but this, if I can't do anything else, this is the last thing I can do for him.
Sure.
And I know for 3 months I didn't hardly breathe. I was kind of numb. And he came and told me, he said, Mom, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm okay.
Mm.
I was in our bedroom, and that let me release everything, because
Good.
he was okay. He told me he was okay. And when Joshie died, a little bird, first don't even come on my window. A little bird came and just looked at me. And I said, Joshie, and he tilted his head. I said, okay, Joshie, you okay? And he just looked at me again. And after I finished talking to the bird, then the bird flew away.
Yeah.
That's pretty real.
Yeah. There are always signs if we're looking and listening and aware of them. Those signs are there from those that have died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And one thing else, I think why I hold my grieving, because it feels like you're taking attention away from the people who it impacted more. If you're grieving, people are want to come and woo you or whatever. And I felt like that was taken. I felt like that was taken away from those people.
And I agree with that. We in the grief world kind of call those people that are emotional with the other person, because they've experienced a loss. I've had a grandmother to her daughter, say, well, I'm grieving too, just as much as you are. And indeed, she is grieving, but she does need to support her child. And your healing still needs to happen. You can be strong in the moment, which is perfectly human and fine, especially for a mom. But you need to remember that you need to take the time outside of when you're with them to make sure that you're healing yourself.
Only person
And you're a busy person, and you're giving.
I just came back from somebody's house.
Time for you to receive.
Only person during that time that acknowledged that was LaWayna, because she was talking to people and she said, "Look, I know I lost my son, but she lost her grandson also." She's like, she is just hurting just as much as I am, because she also lost her grandson. I lost my son, but she lost her grandson. And she said this I just remembered that she said that to somebody, and I was just like, and I'm still trying to like send it back to her, but she was like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
She is also hurt, because it's hurting her. And
Yeah.
I didn't never say that to her, but
And I'm glad that we're talking about this, because that happens a lot, that people forget about that extended family that are grieving as well, because they all had that relationship with that child, or someone in that family. The whole family is grieving. They're all grieving in different ways. But we as a society want to really reach out. Not everyone will even reach out to that closest connection to that person. Like if it's a married couple and the husband passes, they're looking at the wife. But there's children,
Kids.
there could be parents, there could be
Children, parents, grandkids, brothers and sisters.
Right. And we don't always think about them.
Right.
We just think about that closest person to the person that died. So I'm glad that we're talking about this, and we're making awareness to those that are going to listen to the podcast, the awareness to make sure that we support all of them, and we reach out to all of them, or at least keep them in prayer and think about them, or text them, or just
if
something.
You don't talk to them, pray for them, or just call and say, hey, I'm just thinking about you today. You need anything?
That's
it's not
huge.
like, and don't ask how you doing, because I could be crazy today. Don't do that. Just say, hey, you need anything? Can I bring you something? Can I do something for you? People appreciate that more. because they get
Yeah.
tired of people saying, "Well, how you doing? Or how you doing? How you feeling today?
Yeah.
I'm crazy today. What you want?"
Yeah. Yeah. And I always say to people, especially people that are grieving, a heavy grief and very raw and fresh in their grief, that your brain doesn't even allow you to know how you're feeling. I mean, you can't even comprehend, or what do I need? Like, I don't know what I need. I can't even think about my needs.
You got this.
You can't.
How do you think about? You don't think
being,
about eating or food. People
no,
bring you food, and you just look at it, and you be like, "Okay, I'm eating," and
yeah, your
until
brain
somebody
can't
forces,
process.
until somebody say, "Hey, you got to eat. You got to stay strong. Come on, you're gonna be right beside him." That's not what he wants. He wouldn't want you to pass away, and that helps. That kind of, okay, I'm gonna eat a little bit. Okay, do that. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
leave till you eat something, drink something, do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, that's helpful to have food there for them. But yeah,
Mhm.
just the awareness that um, people can answer that question. What do you need? How are you doing? How do you think I'm doing? I mean, like, how do you think I'm doing? I just lost my grandson. Like, how do you think I'm doing? Like, I'm not doing well. Like, we probably could talk about this for a long time. But is there anything else that you guys have just kind of thought about that you wanted to share? How do you guys, maybe I'll ask this question and before we conclude, how do you guys honor loved ones that have died? And you could just pick one, or you could say about Joshie.
We have Joshie pictures of. We talk
Okay,
about him a lot.
good.
We remind ourselves of stuff he did. Just like my nephew, he 2 weeks after Joshie died. That's who was the other person. 2 weeks after Joshie died, my nephew lost his wife of 30 years.
Oh my goodness.
And she was the sweetest. Oh gosh. So we have her picture up, and we think about, how sweet she was, how nice. She was super respectful. And I remember back, I think about her wedding day and just talks me and her had her children. She got 3 girls and 1 boy, and they sweet and respectful, just like she was. It just,
And
you can see her teaching,
them.
her teaching in them. They taught them so
Awesome.
well, and they are still hanging in there today. Their dad just got remarried, and they still kind of adjusting to that.
Sure.
They don't say no, you can't get married, but for them it was just too close because they whole family did everything together. Mom, dad, kids. They went on trips, they went shopping, they hung out, they would do movies, almost everything together. So talking about her, and her son reminds me of her. Her son, he'll put up a picture of her or say something about her on Facebook, and I was like, that is just awesome. Like for Joshie, we have our Joshie isms. We'll do stuff like he said. I talk about him a lot to everybody. Nothing sad, just because he wasn't a sad kid. So it was so much about him that you could talk about. Like, it's a cousin. That's what he told a couple of her cousins. It's a cousin. Who's that? It's a cousin. And they had "It's a cousin" T-shirt at his home going. It was so cute. And because he wears a lot of hats, and like on Sundays when he goes to church. And Joshie always are in his hat. I got pictures of him in his hats. I got like little videos of him in the hats. Just watching those things and talking about him a lot gives me joy. It reminds me of how awesome a kid he was. And and like I said, we have pictures of, we have remembered things of, on his birthday, we all had tacos, anniversary day. We all had tacos at his favorite taco place. I'm not a big taco person, but we went and we had a good time.
I just heard about this taco place, and I told LaWayna she needed to take me to the taco place because I've never heard of it. Well, go ahead.
Just for him. Because I have you were saying how you honor him on my desk and in my toolbox. I have pictures of him, and on my desk there was a toy that he and I shared together. It was a toy tractor, and this toy tractor, I remember him playing with me all the time, and now I would take it and then show him how it worked, and he would go, uh-huh. And I go, no, not like that, no. You're gonna mess up the gears, no. And then he'd go, Then I would go, this is the way you do this.
And he would go,
And he would go, okay. That's
Oh,
okay, I'm done.
do it your way. Do it your
You
way.
do it your way, he just laugh. And so
yeah.
that toy tractor I still have today on my desk.
I
And
love
that's where it stays.
I love that. Well, I can see.
They have a Joshua. They have a scholarship at this daycare for him.
I love that too.
They have it was like these little so they had holes in them. They was like square blocks. They had holes in them, and he would put like a whole bunch of them all the time. He said that was his watch. So when he passed, because of course it's her cousin. He retired those blocks are sitting up. Those are Joshie's blocks. Nobody gets to play with them again. LaWayna had people donate toys and things to daycare in his name.
Nice.
There's a
Love
lot
that.
of
Those
stuff
are
that
all
we do with Joshie's name.
those are beautiful ways to honor him, and I can see the joy when you talk about him and the joy that he
About him,
brought
he makes
you.
me smile.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I want to thank you both for coming on and sharing some of Joshie and just sharing the struggles, the challenges with all of the losses that you have. And I think a little awareness that there's some work that needs to be done.
There's some work that needs to be done. I gotta let it out. I gotta let it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, any other final words that you would like to share with the audience that
Hold hold everybody that you care close. If you don't even see them, call them and say, "Hey, I just like a friend of mine ain't seen her in a while." Call them, "Hey, I just wanted to hear your voice and tell you I love you." I think everybody needs to hear "I love you," and because you're going to regret saying just because you haven't seen them, call them or send them a text. Hey, good morning, I love you. It's just little things in our life that we treasure, and you will feel better as a person letting everybody that you know.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
persons that touch your life, like I have my favorite 6 in the military. So I keep in touch with them. I'll call them at least once a month, or they'll call me. And we share that because you just never know.
You don't.
And I hate to, something happened to one of them and I didn't know. So I pretty much keep up with them because I know on the time that I lost my father, and it took a lot out of me. It took a lot to come to grips because my father, when he passed, I had his sister, my aunt, was in Maryland, and I was stationed in Texas at the time.
Okay.
And when she had told me that he had passed, I was out of character because my aunt, my aunt was the type of person that you didn't disrespect because the way I was brought up, you respect all elders.
Sure.
And I called her when she told me that my father had passed. I went ballistics because you cannot tell me this because I was just seeing him last month and I talked to him and all that. So you can't tell me now that he's gone. I don't believe you. I call her a liar, all these things. And when I said that, my aunt, she was really very, very cool about it because she said, I'm a liar, huh? Okay. I understand you're hurting because you're shocked. So I'm gonna let you have that. And she said, and I kept making excuses saying that I do not have money, so I cannot get there. And she says, "Well, don't worry about the money. I have it, and you're coming. We cannot do anything because you're the beneficiary." And I'm like, "No." She goes, "No, we need you here."
Yeah.
And to make a long story short, when I went there, my cousins and all of them were there, and my aunts and my one uncle, they all agreed, but I couldn't do it. I just, I couldn't get it out. Yeah, I mean, it just would not. Like you said, I felt numb. I felt angry. I felt lost. How could he do this? And no, I was just with you, and it took a lot out of me. And like you said, then again, you have to
You have to breathe.
you have to grieve because my aunts and my cousins and all that, they were boo-hooing and they were trying to give me, come on, it's okay, let it go. And I'm like, no, it's just,
and it's a sadness with you, and it kind of I'm telling from personal experience because didn't let it out and I didn't go through the grieving process.
Yeah.
It still sticks with you. So to be healthy, everyone go through that process. Go through your grieving process. Live a life that you are living great legacies. Like you have people know that you've loved them, you've cared, let people know that. Just it don't hurt you, it don't take anything from you. It takes a second, but it means a lot to people. Leave that legacy with people, but go through the process if you find yourself in that way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
'cause-
love that. And Nate, I would say that for men, I'll real quickly say this before we end. For men, they're kind of programmed, and the military probably programmed you a little bit too to hold those emotions in. And so that's probably why you had some difficulty letting them out. That all that programming for years
Exactly.
was like
Exactly.
keep it in, and you had to figure out really how to release that. Yeah.
Exactly. And you're hitting a lot of nails on the head.
We'll have you on again sometime and we'll talk more about that. Nate,
Yes.
how the military, how that affected your grief, I think would be a great subject
Yes.
for
It
us to
really
talk
did.
about. Yeah, because
It does. And that's why I wanted to be a counselor because I wanted, because being on a military base and seeing, especially during the wartime, and seeing people's husbands die and not come back, and seeing women going into labor, women and kids. That's why I really wanted to be a counselor because I wanted to help those military people because people don't understand what they go. And I guess because we were on the base, we understand what they go through and how much it hurts, and it's hard for them to tell somebody how much it hurts and all these things all this war stuff that they've gone through. So that would be a good topic. Talking with military.
Let's do another episode where we talk about it. And if I forget, remind LaWayna that we talked about that and we need to do an episode on that. So I want to thank you both for coming on. Sometimes it's really difficult to talk about losses and our grief. And so I appreciate you taking the time and sharing. And I know this is going to be beneficial to the other people that are listening.
So hope we help somebody to not do what we did.
Hey, that's right. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Female Voices Life and Loss. We hope today's conversation brought you comfort, insight, and a sense of community. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you found this episode helpful, please share it with others who might need it. Stay connected, stay resilient, and until next time, keep growing and healing.